Now, of course, the official opposition, the Democratic Alliance, also has its views on how things have been handled in the run-up to SONA, as well as its expectations of the president's plan for the day. And here to help me unpack that, I'm speaking to the DA Chief Whip, John Steenhuisen. John, thanks so much for speaking with us today. First of all, how was it getting into Parliament this morning?
Yeah, for us as MPs it's a bit easier, but I really feel sorry for the general population in Cape Town who have to be massively inconvenienced with these ridiculous road closures and this over-the-top security arrangement. Completely bizarre, because next week when President Zuma returns to the House for the reply, none of this is going to be here. So I really think there needs to be some introspection about what SONA has become, and why we keep pushing the people of South Africa further and further away from the parliamentary precinct and putting more and more distance between them and this parliament on an annual basis. Completely over the top, unnecessary for what it actually should be on the day.
Let's change focus slightly. We have spoken previously about what the DA is hoping to hear him say, and you spoke about getting South Africans working again, getting South Africa working again. What is it that you would like to see happening to put South Africa in that position?
Well, I think what we need to see is some very strong coherence from the Zuma administration about the economic direction. So we've heard the president the last few days talking about radical economic transformation. What does that mean? We have the National Development Plan. He's ostensibly committed his government to the National Development Plan. So it's going to be very interesting to see whether the so-called radical economic transformation he speaks about this evening is actually going to be a deviation from the National Development Plan, and we're going to have another year of complete economic incoherence where the one part of government doesn't agree with the other part. So you've got the president talking about the NDP, but you've got Rob Davies talking about the NGP, and this complete schizophrenia that exists, and it drives away investors and leaves people uncertain about where the economy is headed in South Africa.
Anything else that you are hoping to hear?
It has to be about jobs. We've got 8.9 million South Africans sitting at home without the dignity of work, without the ability to provide for their families and to be able to provide for their future. Has to be some concrete plans about how we're going to create jobs. The president comes every year, he promises jobs, but we know in reality the unemployment queues get longer every single year. Tertiary education funding has to be a priority for government this year. We've had a tumultuous year on our university campuses. It's time for government to put its money where its mouth is and tell us how they're going to fund poor students who can't afford university to be able to study at a tertiary level.
Now, your party leader, Mmusi Maimane, held a press briefing or press conference yesterday. Was that supposed to be an alternative to the State of the Nation address? What exactly was that?
No, there's not an alternative to the State of the Nation address. Mr. Maimane will deliver the alternative State of the Nation address when we respond to the President's debate next week. What that was setting out our vision about how we're going to address people in South Africa who've frankly been forgotten by this government. We're talking about the lost generation of South Africans who've left school, have not been able to get into a tertiary education, and don't have skills to be able to go into the marketplace. So we're looking at innovative ways to rebuild that generation up from the ground up, starting with basic education, moving into a program to create skills for those students that are able to then go on and market those skills in the workplace, reintroducing apprenticeships, and an alternative stream for those for lost generation who this government has left behind.
John, thank you so much for your time. That was the DA's Chief Whip, John Steenhuisen, who I'm sure will be giving us his views on the President's speech later on today once the President is done. Studio.